It feels a little weird calling it a weekly update because I think the last one I did was a few months ago. What's good, BookTube? Thanks for hanging out with me again today. It's Theo, Rekindled Reader. Just wanted to give you a little update, let you know what I'm reading right now, what I plan to read, what I'm enjoying. Not a lot of channel or content stuff. I'm just getting back into the swing of things. So let's talk about mostly books, but I will kick it off with a little personal update, let you know what's been going on with me because I took a little bit of a break. At the end of last year, I took a little bit of a trip. I didn't read as much as I thought I was going to on that trip. Kind of lost a little bit of steam, got into a bit of a reading slump, as they say, and then the holidays were upon us. That was a time of busyness with family and friends and that kind of stuff. Work got fairly busy at the tail end of last year, which is unusual seasonally for me working in finance. It's not typically where I get most busy, especially around the holidays when people are taking vacation, but it was crazy for me. And between December, January, and I guess now, it's been kind of a rocky start to 2025. Not something I want to go into necessarily in detail right now, but I probably will share more as the months go on and as I'm able to hopefully share more positive outcomes that I suspect will happen. Because right now, it's been kind of a rocky start. Stuff with family, personally, some health stuff, stuff with some very close friends of mine. Not a good time overall. And so I just wasn't in the mood to read a lot, and I didn't have the time necessarily or mental or physical energy to record. So forgive me, that's kind of what's been happening. Let's talk about the books. You may or may not know that at the end of last year, I was reading Words of Radiance. I really love The Way of Kings. I gave it 5 stars. I'm like 2/3 of the way through here. And when I lost steam, it was sort of at the beginning of this year. I kind of put this down and was reaching for shorter books, things that I could get through quicker. I didn't have the stamina or the patience or even just the desire to read through something like this at the time, even though I love the world, I love the characters. This is a banger of a book and I was really enjoying it. I'm going to pick this up again very soon and continue to chip away at it because I only have about 1/3, maybe even 1/4 left in the book. And it's really ramping up in Brandon Sanderson's style, at least in this part of the series. So it's picking up momentum and I am gonna go back to it. But what I've been reading in the meantime, and actually the book I just finished, I don't even have it with me. It was Red Rising. I finished the first Red Rising book for the first time ever. I've never read that series by Pierce Brown and I loved it. Right now, I'm actually almost done. I'm in the tail end of Golden Sun, and Red Rising I really liked. I will talk about the first trilogy, the first 3 books, maybe as a review on the channel when I'm done them. But I will say I really liked Red Rising. It wasn't a 5-star. It was I think I gave it 3.5. It wasn't a slam dunk for me. There were some things that I could criticize and some areas where it fell short for me, but I had a good time and it was short and the pace was fast and it was a fun read and it was reminiscent of some other books, right? A little bit of Hunger Games I've heard, which makes sense. Ender's Game kind of makes sense. The sci-fi stuff, a nice little change from the usual fantasy that I read, and horror most of the time. But yeah, sci-fi I don't read a ton of. This was a really great entry. Golden Sun picks it right up though. This, I think, if it lands, if it executes on what I think it's going to do, because there's already been some crazy reveals and there was a twist right near the end, which if you've read, you probably know what I'm talking about. I did not see coming. If it sticks the landing, this is going to be a 5-star. Right now it's trending to be about 4.5 because it's an absolute banger and I really, really like what I'm reading and how the story expands, the scope, the characters, the pace. It's just breakneck. And the action is really fun here. I do have some criticisms that I will touch on maybe in my review about how the action is executed. But overall, I'm really, really enjoying this. So I think into the rest of the month, I'm probably going to pick up Morningstar, and I think I'm going to just roll right through it. I think I'm going to finish up Golden Sun and then roll right through this. And I haven't finished a trilogy back to back in a very long time. So just the feeling of accomplishment, the fun that I'm having, keeping up the pace, keeping up with the world, the characters, all the words and like the terminology and stuff, and just everything is fresh, top of mind. I think it'll be really beneficial and a lot of value to just continue and finish the trilogy, because I hear it's a really nice place to stop. The first trilogy is contained. The next books become sort of its own thing, a little darker, subsequent trilogy, and then another couple books. So I do have up until Lightbringer on the shelf. So I'll probably put a pin in this one after the first trilogy, do a review, maybe touch on some other books, and then pick up the rest of the series later this year. So I'm excited to continue with this one for sure. Continuing on maybe a blue theme, I have A Fool's Hope here by Mike Shackle. This is book 2 in the Last War. I think it's called the Last War series. I read the first book, We Are the Dead, last year. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much that I did a dedicated review on it. A lot of people consider it grimdark. I didn't realize how much I would like this subgenre, and some people call it grimdark. Some people say it's not. It's really dark, really gritty, pretty violent. And so whatever you call it, I really enjoyed it. And so the second book gets quite chunky, and I didn't roll right into this one after I finished the first one, because I was just sort of at the time sampling different books, and I was, bouncing around, having a little bit of reading ADD, which happens sometimes. But yeah, I would definitely want to continue, and it's been on my radar for a while now. I do have this signed, I think they call this a plate. There you go. So it's nice and signed, and like I said, it's been on the radar for a while. I want to get to this one pretty quick. And it's a nice change of pace from some of the other fantasy. It contrasts and complements what I'm reading right now very well, because I do have a Robin Hobb book that I haven't finished yet. It's the third book in the Live Ship Traders trilogy. I have about half left of the last book. I just that was again at a time where I was sampling, going through a reading slump, put stuff down, tried stuff, had some false starts. And I'm going to make a point in the next couple months, definitely this year, to finish some of the series that I have ongoing. I'm probably gonna do, if you wanna talk a little bit about content while we're here, I'm gonna do a video on all the ongoing series that I have yet to wrap up, and maybe figure out which ones of those are gonna be priority. So that one definitely will be a priority. I just don't know exactly when, but probably pretty soon. And that one is definitely a more whimsical, lighthearted, family drama kind of fantasy. And so this is gonna be a nice complement to that. Also a nice complement to the Stormlight Archive, which is a little bit lighter hearted as well, more traditional epic adventure fantasy. And then we have breakneck, speed, crazy sci-fi fantasy, if whatever you call it, in this one. So it balances everything pretty well. I like the writing. Can't wait to see where the story goes. A lot of memorable characters in this one. Again, I liked it so much, the first book, that I did a dedicated review. So that's kind of on the go. I don't exactly know what else I'm going to read for the rest of the month. I'm going to sort of play it by ear, but I do have a couple ideas on where I think the rest of this is going to be the rest of the month, but maybe where next month, March, will take me. I have a couple ideas. What I'm going to do is probably save that for a March TBR. Haven't done a TBR video in a while. And on the topic of TBRs, what I noticed is for a while, I was just kind of winging it. I liked the mood reading, aspect. I'm definitely a mood reader. I liked to take the pressure off at some point last year and just started relaxing with what I was reading, just picking up whatever, whenever I felt like it. But I started to lose track of what books I've started, what series I've started, what books I even have. Because if I make a list, I know that the books, I make a list of books that I've recently purchased or recently had an idea to read, or books that I was going to read with other people. And if I'm not tracking or making lists, as is sort of my personality in day-to-day life, I find it a little bit difficult to keep track, and I start to lose motivation on what I should read next. So when it comes to reading, I am definitely a mood reader, but I'm going to try to implement a little bit more structure and a little bit more planning, because I think that is how I execute better, and that is ultimately how I enjoy myself the best. The TBR that I'm going to put out for March may have a thriller on it or a horror book. I am trying to split up the genres a little bit and introduce a little bit of everything. Not all of the time. Sometimes it'll be strict fantasy. Sometimes I'm going to roll through 3 sci-fi books in a row. Sometimes I'm going to introduce a little bit of thrillers, some general fiction, even some nonfiction, some horror, that kind of stuff. I do like to read a little bit of everything. So going forward, you'll probably see a sprinkle of some thrillers, some Stephen King again, that kind of stuff you can probably expect. That's honestly it, guys. I just wanted to give you a very quick update on what I'm reading, what I'm doing, what I'm planning, and how I've been, and the fact that I'm alive and okay, and things are mostly all right. So if you haven't already subscribed or hit the bell notification, if you like stuff like this, please go ahead and do that so that you can get notified when I post a video every year. That's it, guys. I appreciate every single one of you. I will talk to you guys soon and catch y'all on the next video.